Becky Wood here?
You know I'm here.
Hey, there she is. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are y'all?
Hey, it's good to hear your voice.
We've been working on this. We're not close through, but we got to get something to you.
Well, you're doing great. It's a beautiful piece. Becky, let me ask you, just to make sure I have this in the right sequence, is what you see on the screen, Rescuing a Generation, is that page 1 or is that page 2?
That's page 1.
Okay, that's what I thought, because I had it the way it's here.
I know.
I was thinking this is okay. We're good. So Becky, give us a little background. Is this the first time you're doing a year-end campaign? Have you been doing these before? Where are you in the process here?
This is the first time we've done a formal year-end campaign. We typically send out an appeal letter sometime in November, but we've never really called it a campaign where we have a strategy and have anything besides just a plain old letter and just a little envelope and a response device.
Okay, so this is your first kind of formal campaign. So I want to tell you that you've done a great job of capturing the essence of your ministry, and certainly looks like you've done this before. Like this is not your first shot at this. So wonderful. I'd like to just get the group to share, as we've done previously. When you see the pieces here, this is obviously page 1, Rescuing a Generation, 50,000 to save 30 plus babies. And then the back side where it kind of comes together. I'd like to just get any feedback from a couple, 3 of you on what you see, how it touches you, or your observations. So who'd like to start us off to just give us some feedback, and then we'll do a deep dive.
Well, this is Beth. I think it's beautiful. It's very visually appealing, feminine. Just light and airy in the essence. I mean, it's just very life-giving, I guess I want to say. I love that little guy down there with the Santa hat. Oh my gosh, that is like super, super cute and appealing for the Christmas year end. What a great shot that is. And I take it that's Callie's son that she birthed, which is a great story. Great quote there. There she is with the little guy. So, I mean, you can just tell in her eyes, she loves her little boy. And just reading her story here, the private school, that must have been extra pressure there for her to keep her baby. And just, you can tell she's very happy with the choice she made. So, good job.
Great comments. Go ahead. Somebody else, what strikes you? What do you want to point out here? That whatever observations you have.
Hey, Becky, this is Mary Lois. I'm standing in for the Becky at Auctions Now. I think it looks great. I love that right there in the center. It just draws your eye to. We want $50,000 to save 30 babies. It's just it just focuses in on what you want to do right off the bat.
Good point. Just brings you right to kind of the core essence of the message here. Okay. Anybody else want to share what you see or your thoughts here?
I love the 50,000 in the middle of the page, but I might take off the decimal point. For some reason, that number seems so huge that I'm not sure I could conquer it. But 50,000, I can get behind.
Boy, that's a really good point.
It is.
That's a very good point. And it gives you a little more kind of white space, blue space in that case. Okay, good comments. It's interesting. Everybody sees something different, so that's why I kind of like to bring this up to the group, because you never know what somebody's going to spot that, you look at it so many times you don't even see this stuff. I do want to echo what Beth said at the beginning. Every week incrementally, or every call incrementally, we're seeing that the quality of the campaign design is getting better and better. So we just want to stop and congratulate everybody that's on the call for taking this seriously and for dialing it up, because it's worth the extra effort because donors will connect when it's this clear and it's this compelling. So I just want to encourage you to make this part of your normal year-end routine, and then other campaigns you run throughout the course of the year to also look at them similarly. Yet the timing and the message may be slightly different, but what you've done here is very duplicatable. So we just want to encourage you to take what you've learned and then apply it throughout other opportunities throughout the year. Okay, Becky, let me just cover a couple quick thoughts here. This is beautiful. This is really beautiful, and I know from working with another ministry that this navy blue looking, this navy blue look is actually part of the color palette for the fall in the States. So that's you're right on track there. That's a good selection. This picture is absolutely heart-grabbing. This picture tells the whole story. And I would love to see the caption for Callie and Levi to probably be white and bold and probably say something like what you're telling in the story. Let me scroll up here if I can get my mouse to cooperate. This story of what Callie is sharing is amazing. And I'm just thinking something like, Callie holding her son Levi, who was, basically, not necessarily saved from abortion, but, who was rescued through our ministry or who was saved through our ministry, however you'd want to depict that. It's implied, but I think it's worth calling it out and then making it white or larger font so it stands out as really a caption that tells the story. Because later it's going to be really unpacked, down here in what she's saying.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about that? And then we'll continue here.
I'm trying to see if I've got you on mute. Can you hear me?
I got you. Yep.
Okay. We put you on mute. I was just trying to make sure I didn't. I didn't have much space, but I can just put the picture a little bit and put it down there in white.
You could either try to run it, expand on the bottom here. I would see how it looks. Let the appearance be the guide. If you say, you know what, let's not try to put it over the photo. Let's make maybe a space below the photo.
Well, that's what I think is the best.
Yeah, see what works. That's going to be a more traditional standout or call out. So I want to point out also, what you're doing is you're rescuing a generation. That's a great theme. And then more deaths than births. You grabbed my attention. It's like, where? And I thought, oh my gosh, in the U.S. for the first time in history. And then you unpack it here in a very short sentence. So you definitely got my attention. Then help rescue the next generation. So very quickly, you've identified the plight of what's happening in our country, in our state, and then you're also showing the fruit of the baby saved in your ministry. So now you're giving me a point of reference. I'm not sure. I know there's a story behind the 2011 and 2013 difference. The question is it worth putting 10 and 11 down because it looks like we've gone a little backwards? Or the people that you're giving this to, are they aware pretty much of the history of the ministry so that wouldn't cause them much question or concern?
Well, we took a hit when we left. We moved from one place to the next and went mobile totally for a while, and then went, got into a new location. So we did go down. We did go backwards, and they understand. That's been pretty well documented to everybody, I think. For us, we think it is.
Okay, so it's not going to be a negative that people would go, well, what's with that? Okay. Now, is this...
So, Greg?
Yes.
I'm sorry, this is James. That was the first thing my eyes went to. I wonder what happened. But I'm not familiar with the organization, and so is this going to really anyone that's not familiar with the organization?
No, it's not going to anybody that's not on our mailing list.
Okay, well, there you go.
So you're kind of in a safe zone there.
Well, that's the reason, because I don't like those numbers either. And I try to tell, every time we have anything, we send out and say, this is what's going on. we only saw this many patients because we were immobile because we moved and da-da-da-da. It's not, percentage-wise, we're still up there. It's just lower numbers to start with.
Gotcha.
But
and is this 2013?
this is so far as of the end of September, so,
okay,
yes.
Okay, that was what I was going to ask, because what we want to do is we'd like to have you forecast 2013, ideally through the end of the year, so we're showing a year-over-year snapshot.
Okay.
Based on, I mean, your track record of many, many years, could you estimate what you expect 2013 to represent the number of babies saved?
Yeah, we'll do that. We can do that. It's going to be much closer to the 200 mark than the 2012 was. 2012 was a very rough year.
Okay. So if this number is pushing more like 200, then that shows that you've really bounced back well. So, okay. And again, you want to make it conservative. So if somebody asks, well, hey, how did it turn out? Then you're pretty darn close to reality. Okay. So then, as somebody well said, let's get rid of the decimal points because we don't need to be down to the pennies here.
Hey, how are you?
If somebody could mute their phone, we're hearing your conversation here. Thank you. Okay. And then the 30 babies, Becky, that's about $1,667 per baby. Is that?
And that's what it actually has been since our numbers dropped. We were running about $1,100 a baby until 2012, and then when our numbers dropped, of course, so did our overall expenses, but so did the number of girls we served. So that's why I used that. I didn't want to use the $1,200 figure that we used the 2 years before because it's not accurate anymore. Or it doesn't, unless we have a real run on the next few months. People,
Let me ask you, so when you recalculate your 2013 numbers, and they're going to be somewhere between, 155 and 200, can you recalculate your math and see if that changes?
I'll do that, yes.
The only reason is that the 30 plus kind of gets me thinking, well, is it 30 or 40? What's the number?
I know. And I didn't like that either, but I didn't want it to just sound, because it could be more. But you're right, it needs to be clear.
Yeah. And the reason being when we get to the reply card, I'm going to try to scooch over there. What you've got is 1,800 essentially is implied.
Well, that's kind of what I started out with I knew those numbers. I just plugged numbers in there, and I couldn't remember what that figure was, Greg.
Gotcha.
Because I have to finish that part. And the reply card is not at all finished. That was so I have something Monday. I did that, just Monday morning, so it's
So it's one of those panic things.
That's why I said we're not close to being done. We know we got to have the number that correlates with what we're asking for on the front. Has to be on the front as well. Okay.
Got it. And as it was mentioned before, Levi's photo is absolutely heart gripping. So that is a keeper. What a great photo. The only thing about the quote, my initial thought was, boy, this is long, but it's a powerful quote. So maybe you could underline a couple key points for the skimmer. I chose to parent my little Levi could be underlined. So I guess what I would look at is, what are the key words or sound bites that you may want to bold or underline just to bring attention to them.
Okay.
Greg, can I point out something too that I really love about this piece and about the story? I love the fact how they bring out, Callie. Not only are you rescuing, the baby generation, but in essence, they're also rescuing Callie because she is a teenager, and they say here that she is being spared the torment that comes often to the mothers who abort. And so, in essence, she's being spared of the aftermath of the emotional damage that abortion often happens in a young woman's life. And so, I don't know, when I see rescuing a generation, I love, down there a little bit. They described that. Maybe somehow that could be made a little bit bigger or something, because, gosh, for many people, maybe they haven't thought of that. You know, that here we have a 16, 17-year-old who's also been rescued.
That's really powerful. So you have two stories of two different rescues happening here. Yeah, that's powerful, Beth. So, you know, it'd be worth taking a look and seeing if you want to bold that, because you really have Callie's story and Levi's story here.
Exactly. That's great. Great.
Yeah. Now this is a minor, and again, at this stage, these are coming in so well crafted that we're into kind of the minor things. When I printed this off, and again, you have to look at it. It's different on the screen than when you print it off. There's a lot of action, a lot of movement with the floral being as bright as it is. You might want to take a look at it by the way it is, and then scale it back. You know, maybe knock it back to 70% and then 40%, and see if if a little softer emphasis on the floral maybe isn't as busy, and then see which what level of transparency. Making it, going through the transparency, bringing it back to 70, then maybe 60%, seeing where what the right number. You may say 80 is right, or whatever it is.
That's a great idea, Greg.
I worked with a group that had a similar challenge before, and they didn't look at it on paper. They were looking at it on their Macs, and when it printed off, they realized, oh my gosh, that floral thing is so busy. It kind of creates a lot of visual noise. So food for thought for you. And I'm not the marketing guy. Josh is here, and others. Okay, question for you. These photos are all kind of faded back. Is that intentional, or is that just because they're placeholders?
No, I did it on this, and I forgot I had not. I wanted to see how it looked, but then I didn't like it. So they're full regular photos on my copy here. I just didn't send the. Yeah, I just liked them better as real people. I mean, the whole thing instead of faded.
Okay, so they're going to pop like normal shots. Okay, got it. Alrighty, I'm with you right there. So that'll just bring more draw. So you have baby Levi that looks like he's the far right. I don't know if you had space, you could put the babies' names. It's up to you to see, how that looks and how that plays out.
Okay.
Minor food for thought there. So what you're doing here now is you're saying, you've got the, women deserve a better choice, better than abortion, and then you're going back and saying, hey, since 1992, 12,000 women have chosen life for their baby, or 1,200 women have chosen life for their babies. Gospel is shared 7,000 times, 760 accepted Christ. So you're kind of going back to the fruit of the ministry here on page 2. So that's kind of the result. Let me go back here. You've got the same salvation message here that we had on page 1, which is okay. I'm just thinking, I'm wondering, page 1 is so good. I really don't want to mess with that. So I'm wondering here if we could put more emphasis. Again, it's know thy donor. So the question is, we've got the number of babies saved is 1,200 since 92, and number of salvations is a repeat. I'd almost like to see, something like together we can save the next 30 babies. That bring us back to, what we're here for, and that's in essence, this core message that we're looking at 30 or 40 babies, whatever the math works out to be. Instead of replaying maybe the salvation piece or something else here. What are your thoughts about that as far as pointing people towards the goal at this point?
I think you're right. I think that last line could completely go to together. Yeah, I like that.
So this is really then, in essence, the call to action is what you're saying. Because that's the perfect spot for it.
It is. It's perfect.
So like together, something like, together we can save the next 30 babies or whatever the number is. through this, through our year-end goal, reaching our year-end goal of $50,000. And then in essence, you're saying visit us online or look below. The card is right here. So then it just plays itself out. The call to action is really a foregone conclusion because it's all packaged right there. Okay, I think that's going to bring people back to the reality. It's clean, it's crisp. I think you probably hold the record for fewest words in telling the compelling story.
Yay! We tried hard.
Well, it shows you how effective. And again, for all of us, the pictures really do tell the story if we can help us get there. And not every ministry is this crisp and clean on its focus, but if we feature the core essence of our ministries, then that really helps us nail down what we're asking people for. So the only area that I would suggest, Becky, that you give more attention to, and I know you're there because you already said, hey, we just kind of slapped the reply card together. You all have seen this from call 1 and call 2. And again, this is an orphanage ministry we're working with. It doesn't apply dollars and cents wise, but the principles here, they were talking about 30 babies, and it's roughly 1,500 or whatever it is. So, we would look and, pull that together here. And I think you've seen before we had different reply cards for pregnancy centers. But if we give them an option to give monthly, some people, they only can make that work monthly, and others want to give now, as a one-time or a special gift, you're going to find you're going to capture more, a higher conversion rate. More people will give when they're given both options. Are you okay with offering both the monthly and a gift now, Becky, or is there an aversion to that in your case?
No, we definitely want to be able to offer both. In fact, I thought that I did that, but maybe I didn't.
Well, you did, but let me show you where it's hidden. It says with a monthly support in the amount of. And the principle here, again, this is for everyone's benefit. The principle, if we give people a fill-in line, they're going to go low. But if we give them options like this,
yes,
they're going to step up and maybe go, well, maybe we can do more than 50, let's do 100. They're going to vote themselves up higher. That's the benefit of giving them this, something like this.
Very good.
I think somebody just dialed in and put me on speaker. I can hear an echo, so if you could take me off the speaker or mute, that'd be wonderful. Thank you. And then one more question for Becky, and this is for everybody. I see we have electronic funds transfer, EFT. Do people actually give that way to your ministry, Becky, or are you following like a template that we gave you?
No, we actually have quite a few who give EFT. Okay.
So in your case, it applies. I just want to point that out because some people just use it because it's on the template. Others use it because it works. So, okay, then you're good. Very good. Well, you've gotten our feedback. I would just say focus on this reply card, like the templates we've given you, and you're going to have a great year-end campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Greg. All right. Well, next up we have Keith and Nicole Boggs with Real Momentum, and one of their board members is also on the line with us, Joe Malloy. So we welcome them. And by the way, Keith and Nicole are going through our group coaching here in Atlanta. So they're good friends with Ministry Ventures. So
yay!
Good job, guys.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, can I ask a question? Again, as you've heard me ask before, is this your first year in campaign, or have you done it before and now you're notching it up? Well, catch us up on this one.
This is our first campaign whatsoever, so.
That's right, you're brand new, aren't you?
We're brand new, yes.
Excellent. Well, you've done a great job here. And I guess my follow-up question is, based on who you're sending whether it's a snail mail, email, wherever the appeals are going, give us the gender split. What's the percentage to men versus women that you're saying that you're gonna pump this out to for your end?
I'd probably say half and half men, half
Okay. So, okay, gotcha. And we talked early on about the female friendly. Doesn't need to be male repelling, but the female friendly look, so that as the female to home typically grabs the male, sorts it, chucks the junk stuff, and opens the rest, or gives it to her husband or whatever. There's always the question: is this going to pass the spouse, the wife's test, or the spouse test? That's the $1 million question. This, to me, is very man appealing because of the heavy black, and it just draws me in. I'm a bit concerned that it may be too masculine friendly enough, female friendly enough, unless the envelope has more emphasis on the blue and less emphasis on the black. Have you guys designed the envelope yet, or what does that look like in your mind's eye at this point?
We don't have an envelope designed yet.
Okay. So that being the case, what I might do is emphasize, you've got multi-shades of blue here. You might want to go with more emphasis on that and lighten up on the black heaviness, just to get more consumption. The idea is it needs to be opened and consumed, otherwise we're not making progress. So I'd let the envelope be lighter on the black and heavier on the blue side.
Okay.
Make sense? Let's get a couple people in our group here to weigh in here. I'd like to hear from a couple of you. When you see this, what do you think? How does it impact you as you look at this?
This is Mike. If you scroll back to the first page there, the stats are what immediately jumps off the page at me. The 9 out of 10 men will have children who leave the church. 5 will have a major problem with pornography. 4 will get divorced. I mean, I spent most of my time looking at the first page on that. I think that's really healthy. Good job. People love statistics, and it's presented well in that frame. So good job on that. I didn't spend as much time on the rest of the page because I was kind of caught on that, and the transition for me didn't happen in the same way down the road. What percentage of the people that get this will have any idea what real momentum is about?
100%.
Okay. All right. So that's good.
Contact through conferences or retreats or family camps, or they were already in a relationship with us and they understand our ministry.
Because
okay, good.
It's clearly a men's ministry. When I see this, I see that. You've addressed the problem first and foremost, which is that that men in the church are broken, and the fallout from that is significant.
Good point, Mike. Good point. Okay, anybody else want to share, and then we'll go forward here. Hey, Beth, how does this look to you as a woman? Give us your read on it.
Well, no, personally, the dark colors didn't really bother me as much, just because if I'm going to open it up and I'm a woman who possibly has a struggling husband or brother or father or something, and I see let the men of God arise, that to me, my heart leaps when I think, oh my gosh, this is a men's ministry for men. I'm giving money right now. I mean, that's for me the key. The colors to me were secondary on this. I would say one thing, that picture there, Todd with his wife and son. For some reason today, guy, I've seen this before, but it was dark. I can't really even see. It almost looks like, I can hardly tell that it's 2 or it's supposed to be 3 people. It's somehow, if you could lighten that up or find another picture with a family together, might be a recommendation.
Yeah, good point, Beth. Good point. If you didn't even read the caption, it looks like the person in the dark shirt. Is that your son or is that your wife? I would guess it's your wife, but the picture needs to tell the story. So I would say, you could actually stage a photo and create and take a shot that may be more indicative. But again, we're talking minors here.
Well, Greg, actually, I think this is one of their the people they minister to. This is not actually Keith and Nicole.
That's right.
This is somebody that they've actually worked with, who are praying and who are like coming to a place of repentance, probably.
Got it. Well, see if you have another shot that might work and be a little more intuitive. But Beth, I really appreciate your comments because let the men of God arise. That is a powerful. That's a powerful statement. Is that the theme you created for this year-end campaign, or is that something you've been using all along and decided that it works here?
I think it's just what we've seen happen this last year. We've seen several men at the bottom in there. I mean, I've really made a strong plea. If you're in need of help today spiritually as a man, I don't care where you are, would you just stand up? And we've seen tons of them stand. So really just falling in, I think that's where God has us right now, is really asking men to acknowledge their need for Him.
Okay.
And then the hands in the air are just really saying it's also a sign of surrender, but it's also a sign of victory.
Got it. Well, it's powerful.
Excuse me, Greg. I love the bottom picture with the hands rising up because, like you said, it is not only let men rise, but it's also it's surrender and victory at the same time. I love that picture.
That's powerful. That's very powerful. Thanks, Becky, for sharing that. Just a couple quick points here. We already said the theme is great. What you've done is you've really hit the storyline. You're asking a question to engage people. Just the fact that there's a lot of white space, and these stats, like with Mike, my eye went right to the stats. It's like I went, oh my gosh, this is men are a train wreck in our country, and you have a solution just jumped off the page to me. So as I kept going down, then you've got Steve's message. You've got a great quote here from Steve. You bolded it. It's italicized, and then we've seen over 1,500 men respond. That's awesome. I mean, that tells an incredible story. The only thing I would say here, I've got 2 points, is you're asking, do you want to help make this a reality? What I would probably do is make this the call to action. Something like, together, together we can reach more men. Together we can reach the next 1,500 men. Something like that would be there. See the attached card for how your gift can, your gift of only $20, what we're saying is it's only $20 to really impact a man's life through our ministry. If I did the math right, which is phenomenal.
Okay.
So in there you could say, together we can reach the next 1,500, and it's only $20 to impact a man's life. So some way to maybe reference that. See the attached card for how your gift, see the attached card, blah blah blah, whatever would make sense there would be the call to action, and then the PS would be similar. And although it's right here, again, the PS is the most read part, and then often not a whole lot else is read. So the PS is the encapsulation of the whole campaign. It says, look on the back. In this case, it would say, together we can reach the next 15. We can reach the next 1,500 men. See the back or see the enclosed card for how your gift can transform a man's life, today. Something like that. So it's a real clear call to action, because the back of the card is what they're going to see. But is there a reply card here also, Keith, or are you pointing them directly to your online link?
We have a reply card. I'm not sure if I sent it.
Okay, I didn't see it, so I would reference the reply card here, and then on the reply card, then you can have your website, clearly defined, and then it's easy for them to make that jump, because they're going to go to the back, but the reply card is really technically where they're going to jump off to. And then when I go to the back side, I look at this and I think, man, this is nice and clean. Partner with us, $20,000 by the end of the year, 1,500 men, and then you're showing some options here. It's like, wow, my dollar goes really far with these guys. Yes, Keith, I want to help. And you're showing them here, but then also you're pointing to the reply card as well. And then you got a thank you, and I'm assuming that's your family there?
Yes.
Wow, what a cool-looking family. I know it's small on the screen, but wow, what a blessing. How many children do you have?
We have 8 children, 6 girls and 2 boys.
Let's say either you have a couple grandkids stuffed in there or you have 8 kids. Wow, that's amazing. I'm glad I don't have your grocery bill. The only other thing here, just as, again, this is for everybody's benefit, when we have a quote, it's nice to either put like Todd, last name initial B, Atlanta, Georgia, Cumming, Georgia, whatever it is, so that it looks like a real person with an identity. Unless that's too descriptive, then you'd want to maybe falsify or just put the initials, T period, B period, Atlanta, Georgia, something like that.
Okay.
Are you guys cool with that?
Oh, yeah, yes.
It's a minor. Again, we're down to really small potatoes here. But you've done an exceptional job, and, you've got a holy huddle here, so you've got that. If there's a caption that goes with this, then you may want to throw a caption in there that tells the story of, how this ties in. They can just describe one of your events.
Right.
So do you guys have any questions before we wrap up your time here?
We currently have people that know us pretty well and understand our ministry, and they are already giving to us. Would you suggest we do more of a personal approach to them and segment it out, or just leave the letter for everybody to be the same?
Good question. That's one thing I was going to bring up, and so you made it easy for me. I always recommend segmenting, because there's some people. If you go back to the booklet that we gave you on call 1 and I reviewed on call 2, if you look at your database, the first question is, okay, who do we absolutely positively need to meet with face to face? If they would say yes, pull them out, and that could be you, Keith, Joe, maybe a couple other board members that you would say, we have relationships. You know what? This group needs to be met with face to face. The reason being, 1 out of 2 will say yes, and they'll give about 9 times greater if they're asked face to face. It's just the way the research comes in. And then looking at the rest of the database, you may say, well, you know what, let's get a call. Let's get a group of people that can actually be on the phone and say, hey, check your mailbox. We're giving you a ministry update and some things we're focused on for the end of the year. That's all. We're not asking for money on the phone. Just check your mailbox or check your email. And then the last group would be the blast, and that would go out to the masses. And again, we talked about multi-channel. We're talking face-to-face, phone, email, snail mail, postcards, social media. If you can put reminders out there, updates. Those are all powerful ways to drive the message about what you're doing, and then you're golden, because people are going to see it from different directions, and they're not going to forget. They're going to go, oh yeah. They may take the 3rd or 4th reminder or touch, but they're going to go, oh yeah, those are the guys that are doing that amazing work with men. Yeah, we need to do that, and they'll come through for you. Okay. Does that help you, Keith?
Absolutely.
All righty. You send us your
Awesome.
final. I'd love to see what it looks like when it's all done.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, you're welcome.
All right, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Boggs, and Real Momentum. Well, next up, and last but certainly not least, we are going to look at Options Now. This is the Pregnancy Center out of Valdosta. And I believe that Becky has worked with Ministry Ventures before as well. Is that correct?
Becky has. She is out of town, though, so this is Mary Lois. So, hey.
Hello. Hello, Mary. Well, I'm glad you're here in her place. Thank you so much. And we'll let Gregg just take it away.
Hey, sounds good. Well, Mary, please say a big hi to Becky. I'm one of her biggest fans, so let her know that I said hi.
I will.
All righty. So give us a scoop. Is this the first time around for a year-end campaign like this, or are you seasoned veterans? Where are you in the food chain of year-end campaigns?
We're at about the same place everybody is. We tend to send an end-of-year letter that's just an appeal, but we have not done a formal campaign with an amount that we're hoping to raise and really a targeted campaign. So this is new. Okay.
Well, hey, for being new at this, you sure have come through like our other leaders and really stepped it up. This is really impressive. Very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me ask for a couple comments out of our panel of experts here on the phone now that everybody's gone through the program. What do you think when you see this? Comments, thoughts?
Well, I just think it's precious. I just think it's very appealing. The colors are wonderful. What a great, just great pictures here with this loving mom and her baby. I love loving life together. It's very clear as far as what they have done and what they're asking. I love it. And the testimony here, although it's a little, of course, more than 5 sentences here. I don't know if there's any way we can make that smaller, but I don't know. It's a testimony, right? And probably she said a patient because she didn't want to divulge the actual identity of the patient, which is understandable. I don't know if there's any way you can get around that, Gregg, but I love the testimony there.
Great comments, Beth. Great comments. Somebody
else?
This
is Mike.
Mike.
Yeah, I think the picture of the mom and the baby, is really nice. The background image is also nice. It's appealing. It's feminine, but a man wouldn't look at this and just think that it's girly. It is very sweet. One question that Beth mentioned as well is if there's a way that we can tighten up that paragraph with the testimony. I think that's a powerful story. But I think it would be even more powerful if you're able to tighten it up because more people will read it. So visually, I think there's a temptation to believe that everyone knows the language that we use when we're in ministry, and so 424 reached. 166 rescued. What exactly does that mean? Maybe adding a little bit of greater clarification, a rise in AM patients. I know it's frustrating because on the one hand we're telling y'all to be brief, and on the other hand then we're saying, well, what does that mean? And so there's a tension there. But if I wasn't intimately aware of what was going on, but had only loosely been aware or had disengaged for a while and am now re-engaged because of this, a little more clarity on that. The who of the reached, the who of the rescued, etc. And then it costs $2,000 to save a life at Options Now and $200 to reach each patient. For only $200, you could help a woman choose life. I'd figure out a way to italicize that or do something on that fourth or fifth paragraph. Once you scroll back up, sorry, Greg. It's immediately under, yes, that's the one. That's sort of the monetizing the mission money shot right there, and so that's important. those are the main things that what's out for me.
Hey, great comments. Great comments.
Thank you. Thank you.
So can we dive in here, Mary Lois, and just kind of roll up our sleeves?
Sounds great.
Okay. Well, Mike already went down the road I wanted to inquire about. 424 reached. Can you unpack that for us?
I did try to do that in the first paragraph, that we're reaching women in unexpected pregnancies every day. The 424 are our new patients throughout 2013 so far. We've had 424 people that have come in as a new patient this year. Now, they may come, 5 or 6 times to the clinic, so we count those as well, but that's the reach, is those patients who initially come in during a calendar year for a new pregnancy.
Gotcha, okay. So could you do what we asked Becky with ABC Center to do, and that would be to extrapolate your best estimate for the whole 2013?
Yes.
The reason being that'll help people to get an annual snapshot, because we tend to think in terms of annual impact. And on your ministry overview, because you've been through our program, the success indicator column, then you can use that same number and modify it, as you close the year, in January you can look back and say what were the actuals. But this will help people get the relevancy of a full year, because that's essentially really what you're saying, hey, to date and what we're estimating based on, the trends we're seeing here.
Right.
As long as we're not being evangelistic, we're in a safe zone then.
Right.
So you might want to say women, if you can expand this to women reached, or I know you're using the word reach here, and you're playing off of this. When I read it, I didn't tie the two together, although this paragraph is tight. I didn't look at that and go, oh, that's what this means. Frankly, I went right to the box, and then I melted when I saw the woman in this incredibly smiling, beautiful baby. And then I doubled back and I dove in here, and then of course I went back over the whole thing. So the eye candy of this grabbed me first, then the photo, and then I went backwards through it. Not unlike how most people will read these things. So you have enough room to say, women reached if you wanted to, or women impacted if you want to stay reached, and stick with that, because reach and rescue is a theme you've got here. You might say babies rescued, so that because these are babies rescued from abortion, right?
That is correct. Those are actual babies that we have found out during this calendar year have been born to abortion-minded or abortion-vulnerable women.
Wow. Yeah, I would definitely say babies rescued. So if you wanted to just use the same language, women reached, babies rescued. That tells your story. And then I was confused on AM patients. I thought, is this morning? Is this AM a code word for something I don't get? What do you mean by AM here?
Those are women that are abortion-minded. And we have seen a 30% increase in abortion-minded patients, which is pretty significant, because that is our actual target market, or reaching those women who are, and actually we're beginning to see a lot more of abortion determined that come in unwaveringly that they are going to have an abortion, and most have already set an appointment. And so those are the real successes, when we are able to, even put a seed in their hearts that maybe this isn't the best decision. And when we can get them to do an ultrasound, that does an even deeper seed planting. And we are just in awe when God lets those seeds sprout and they choose life.
Absolutely. Okay. So what you just told me, and I mean, embarrassingly, I've worked with probably a couple dozen, pregnancy resource centers, and I didn't get that. So it didn't translate for me, and I'm a guy that pretty much knows your space. So I would say one of two things: either 30% rise in patients, or at-risk patients, or reduce the font, make it work so you can put abortion-minded, because that needs to be clearly delineated, because people aren't going to know they're going to go, oh, it's morning patients. Like me, I should have known better, but I didn't. So
that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you. That's a great suggestion. Thank you.
It's a minor. Again, these are all minors, so I'm just bringing up the reality of the minor stuff. So before I forget, a caption here would be fabulous.
Okay.
Because this begs the question, who are these people and what's their story? I mean, I'm thinking this is the story of this person holding her baby. That's kind of what I'm thinking. People are going to look at the picture and go, whoa, and then they're going to read this or whatever this gets netted down to and go, gosh, that's awesome. You've basically nailed it right there.
We're actually working with the patient that sent that testimony. She sent it in the form of a letter with her baby, and with a picture of her and her baby, very similar in the positioning to that one. And so we are trying to get that photo so that we can put it and point it back to put it all together. And we're waiting on getting her approval to use that picture.
Okay. You may want to save this for, the backside or something, because the photo is absolutely, enrapturing. It just grabs your heart. So you've heard several people comment and say, you know what, the quote is too long. It's just, it's very good, but it's too long. So as I was going through this, I thought, there's sound bites here. I can't express how I appreciate you helping me through this major transition. So you've got, how much I appreciate your help. The day I walked, the day I arrived, I was afraid, confused, and needed someone. I needed help, in essence. You were comforting and so assuring, and said, God will work everything out. So I'm kind of skipping, but if you have access to the patient, you could actually retool this and say, when we sat down and we heard you share, this is what we heard and took away, and squish this down into 3 or 4 lines at the most. That is the essence. And then you've done well by bolding. I've got so much orange here, but you've done a very good job of bolding some points that people are going to kind of skip to. And then my son is beautiful and healthy. Thanks to you, I'm holding my son, whatever his name is, and I'm forever grateful. And you could either do the initials like, A, T, and, whatever city, something like that, or however you would maintain their confidentiality, but then it looks like it is a real person instead of a patient, per se.
Right. And again, if we can get her permission, we will have a little more leeway with how we can put her name, because obviously people are going to know her, and, so we can make it a little less anonymous.
Yeah, you have to work with what you have to work with. But if you can scrunch this down, then if you can, I would indent it, because quotes are often better. So imagine if this space they're in is like this. Now it's indented. You have a little more white space. You can kind of move things around. You get a little more breathing room. This is not that text heavy, but the quote kind of bogs you down. Okay. So there's a key word here, investor. That sounds pretty sterile and institutional. I would probably go warm and talk about partners or something that's more, more friendly in that sense.
Okay.
Would you call me an investor for a meeting face to face, or would you say, it's partners like you that are, how would you identify me?
Well, it would kind of depend on what kind of relationship I had with you, and I might use either interchangeably, but I do like partners better.
And it can't be overused. I'm just throwing it out there as a warmer placeholder.
Sure.
And then the 2,000 here, I think Mike already mentioned you could bold that. 2,000 to save a baby's life, 200 to serve a patient. Reach a patient, impact a patient. I know we're doing the reach and rescue, so I don't want to mess up the brand that the themery you have here, because that does make sense. Probably most people won't won't go, well, now they're saying impact. It used to be reach. They're not going to realize that. So I would just maintain the integrity of the piece you've got going here.
Okay.
Why is this important? You may want to just bold a couple words here. Dramatic increase in abortion-minded and abortion-determined women. Empowering women to make life-affirming choices. Those are kind of the sound bites of that paragraph. Again, we can get too heavy with bold. Sometimes you want to underline. Sometimes you want to bold. So we don't want it to look circusy. So you have to decide, do I want to bring attention, and then how much emphasis? But the nuggets are there. It's a matter of how you work those. Okay. So what's next? Is that a question, or we're making that a statement?
It's probably a question. But it could be a statement. I haven't really decided. What would y'all think would be the best?
A question forces your mind to want to find an answer. So
Okay.
This pops, so it's going, okay, so what's next? Oh, raise 40, reach 200, save 20 babies. Bingo. Okay. So we know that it's 2,000 for a day, rescues one baby rather, 1,000 is partnering with another, and then you've got the others unpacked here. So that is really clear. And the thing that I was curious about, reach 2 or more patients and receive a special thank you. I'm thinking, what's the big deal about that? So tell us what that really means. If what are they going to get if they do 2 or more patients?
We oftentimes send special year-end gifts to investors at certain levels, and this year we were going to purchase the wall by Kirk Walden and send those out as gifts for investors that hit that special level, $400 or more.
Okay. Well, you know what? If that's the case, what I would do, if that's been a decision, if you go back to the document, the PDF that we gave you for this whole campaign program, you'll notice that Big Life in the first example was giving away a book. If you gave any gift over $50, you would get a copy of their new book.
Okay.
I would feature and say, for any gifts over, we'll send you a copy as our way of saying thank you. Let them know what it is, because the mystery of this doesn't inspire me to give, but if there's something that you want to give me that's an appreciative gift, show it and then be diligent to make sure they do get it.
Okay.
Hey, Greg, can I ask you a question here?
Sure can.
In this light, a couple of ministries that I've been working with have said they're going to give a little something, but they didn't really even know on the donor's part what if that would have really taken them over, and then they've got the expense as well as all of the logistical follow-up to get back with that. What is your thoughts on that?
There's always the question of, okay, are we? Is it going to matter? We kind of giving away the farm. That's kind of the concern. I'm going to go back to the document that we created, the workbook. I just want to show everybody something here. Either we're in or we're out. There's a way to work around it. Let me just see if I can find it here. Okay, if you all can see what's on my screen, and you can go back to the document we gave you at the beginning here. This is what I was sharing with Mary Lois. Big Life had this book that just came out, and they're saying, we'll give you a copy of the book. In fact, let me go back and just show this to you so you can bear with me for a minute. The campaign was designed, and the book was very, very well done. So here's what's next, with the question mark, asking a question, and they're saying, hey, for a donation of $30, we'll give you a signed, autographed copy of the book. Bingo. So they chose that route, and they know that tipped the scales, and more people gave because they got something free. But here's to answer James' question. What they did is they made people check the box. So it says, with my donation, send me a free copy of A Big Life. So if they didn't check the box, they did not get the gift. Because some people would say, "Oh, I'm not interested," and they'll opt out. And so the only way they're going to get it is if they check the box. So that's the way around it, so that you're not giving away to people that don't value it. You're asking them to make two checks. One is to how many dollars or how many lives, and two is, I want the book, or they opt out if they don't check it.
That's great.
Yeah, It's easy to miss that nuance here, but that's the workaround, and we had that conversation in a coaching session. How do we not give away, 500 books when only really 150 people really want them? And that's what we came up with. Okay.
Very good.
Let me just, one quick thing here, Beth. I know we're running late. The investment card, again, I would probably say that to, the donor card, the whatever card, but investment sounds like you're asking them to give their firstborn child away. And then the reply card, if I can find it, where is the reply card? I had it here somewhere. Is that it? That's yours. Your reply card doesn't give the options for monthly. Well, it doesn't jump off the page like the other one. So I would suggest that you try to provide both, the monthly side like we showed you, and the special gift, unless you want it all now and you're willing to kind of, hold off, push some people away.
Sounds great.
Very good. Is EFT something you all do, or is that just...
It is. We typically do it the most at our fundraising dinner, and we do get a lot of new ones signed up at our fundraising dinner. And because this is, we just thought it would be a good option to put on this as well, because we have such a favorable response at our fundraising dinner.
Okay, I'm with you. So it's a matter of what makes sense to you there. So I just didn't want you to try it as a first step if nobody was really responding.
I understand.
All righty, great job.